I was drinking daily, and it would be a minimum of a 12 pack of beer a night. On the weekends, you could double that. I know if I go back to drinking, I'll feel good for a little bit, and then I'm going to continually chase that buzz, feel that regret, the shame, the guilt, be stuck all over again.
It's not a good feeling.
Was tired of being alone and drinking and wanted to change. Whenever we're angry or sad or whatever, we're just going to go right to the alcohol. This time, I chose to face a lot of those emotions.
Today's guest is someone I've gotten to witness make massive changes physically, mentally, and emotionally. He's almost 100 days, day 99 as we're recording, and he's thriving and showing what's possible when you finally decide to face yourself instead of your escapes. Thanks for being here, Adam. I'm so excited that you're doing this with me today.
Glad to be here.
99 days ago, what was going through your head?
I was at a point of I wanted to stop drinking and I didn't know how. I watched your podcast for a couple months prior to reaching out to you, and it was on July 4th. I was sitting in my house in my kitchen drinking, and I just was tired of being alone and drinking and wanted to change.
So, how does it feel looking back to that day and then tomorrow, well, on the 13th, you're going to be 100 days sober?
It's it's crazy. I've gone through a lot of obviously changes through that period of time, almost just over 3 months. It feels a lot longer than that.
What's the biggest difference between the guy who drank a case of beer a day or more and the man sitting here now?
I would say consistency, and my health has improved drastically.
Going back your health issues, what were some of the main things that you were noticing while you were still drinking compared to now?
A lot of stomach issues. I know I gained a lot of weight. I had a lot of pains in like my arms. I had tendinitis, and then I had pains in my feet. Like my arches were hurting all the time, and I knew it was caused from drinking, but I just kept on ignoring it and saying, someday I'll quit. Someday I'll do it.
Someday. But
And
everyone
one of the
says, right?
biggest things for me, like when I first stopped drinking, a lot of that improvement was gradual. But like within a month or so, I stopped feeling all those pains, and my body was healing, which I gave it a chance. Finally, gave it a chance to heal.
So you had patience in letting your body heal before you gave into drinking, because
Yep.
I feel like some people just give up too soon before they start noticing the
Yes.
benefits. You're losing weight, but you're also gaining muscle,
Yep. I think
transforming your body.
at my peak of drinking, I got to about 237 pounds. Now I'm at 224, and a lot of that is I used exercise to help me through, especially that first couple months of sobriety, and that was very beneficial.
When did you know this time was different, that you weren't just quitting, but you were changing?
One of the biggest things that I decided this go around, because a couple years ago I tried to quit drinking by myself, and I made it about 74 days. And this time I knew that I needed help. I needed to reach out to somebody. And for some reason, I chose you. And I'm glad I did. And that accountability and that you being able to walk me through a lot of especially the early on challenges that you face, I don't think I would have done it if I didn't have that help.
So, can you walk us through some of those emotions that you experienced in the first, what was it, the first couple months, the roller coaster of emotions?
Yeah, I was, especially the first couple weeks, I was pretty excited. I think they call it pink cloud.
Mhm.
And I was a little bit euphoric on like, I'm doing this, I'm changing, I'm making all these changes. But there was a lot of difficulties too, because your emotions are kind of all over the place, and you're trying, your brain's healing, your body's healing, you're trying to resettle down and get into a new pattern of thinking. And there was definitely times when I wanted to drink, but I made the decision that I was going to show up for myself and be accountable. So that was a driving factor in maintaining.
Because you experienced, so after the pink cloud went away, there was some other emotions that arose.
Yes, like anger. I dealt with a lot of anger and resentment, and some of that is directed towards just normal daily life stuff. Because when I was drinking, a lot of I think we all did it at certain times. Is that whenever we're angry or sad or whatever, we're just gonna go right to the alcohol. And this time, I chose to face a lot of those emotions, and still working through a lot of those emotions.
Yeah. I feel like too many people we mask these emotions for far too long, and I mean, I know that you have people in your life personally that they've gotten sober, but they've never actually done the work that you're doing. And so it's different when you actually start doing the work and reading the books and working out, taking care of yourself mentally and physically. I think it all starts coming, it helps the emotions also because then you can kind of just deal with the emotions that are thrown at you. I mean, we're going to face emotions all the time, right? I mean, we're gonna have
Yes,
bad days. We're gonna have good days, and then people are gonna make us mad along the way. But you've overcome so many times through this first almost 100 days that you could have just grabbed a case of beer on the way home, but you chose not to. You chose to write out those emotions, and I feel like too many people don't write out those emotions. They just cave right back to alcohol.
and I know for myself, and I could say this now early on. I don't know if I could have said this, but my worst day sober is still not as good.
Still not as bad.
Yeah, because of that whole aspect of I know if I go back to drinking, I'll feel good for a little bit, and then I'm going to continually chase that buzz. I'm going to continually chase that high, and then feel that regret, the shame, the guilt, and then be stuck all over again.
It's not a good feeling. I wanna talk about some of the physical side first because I know that you've made huge strides. What does your daily routine look like now and compared to what it used to look like?
When I was drinking, I'll start with what my routine used to look like. It was I would these last probably 3 years before I quit, I was drinking daily, and it would be a minimum of a 12 pack of beer a night. And then on the weekends, you could double that. And then even if I got off work early, I'd go right and buy alcohol. And I would just come home as soon as I'm done with work or whatever, and I just start drinking right away. Sometimes I'd even have a beer open before I even got in my house. And that was just to get me functioning and feeling normal again. I'd go through the day about 3 o'clock, I'd start feeling a little bit better from the hangover from the previous day. And then, well, now it's time to drink again.
Yeah.
And then I would sit at home and drink until I passed out.
No working out in there. And sorry, I said case
No,
of beer earlier. I meant 12
uh,
pack or more.
well, that depending on the day.
Right.
Yeah. And that was my life for probably 2 or 3 years. And even in my past relationships, drinking was always a part of it. And I know that affected a lot of my relationships. And even when my family would get together, I'd be open about it. I never hid it, but if nobody was drinking, I'd still be drinking by myself. I didn't care.
Yeah.
And then fast forward till now, I know what helped me a lot early on is I just wrote down a list of things to do. I didn't care what it was, whether it was clean my truck or do laundry or go work out. Whatever I could do, I wrote on that list to find something else to do to keep my mind off of alcohol. And that's especially first month that really helped me. And now I kind of came into a routine, which it takes practice, like changing your daily life from what it used to be. But I go to work. I like to cook, work out, go on hikes, whatever I can find, and spend time with my family, whatever I can find to enhance my life.
Yeah. So I know the sauna, the workouts, and the reading have become a part of your rhythm. How do those things help keep you grounded?
I would say it helps me deal with my emotions a lot because, like you said before, like we have a lot of you're still gonna have the hard days, but it's transforming your mind to handling those bad days versus running away from them.
Right.
And then I mean, we have good days too, but it's just like you're not hiding from your emotions and like reading and improving yourself, you're working out your emotions, which of course everybody knows that increases your endorphins and learning new skills to work through this stuff.
Yeah. And you have a sauna at home and you work out at home. So can you tell them how often you do that?
Yeah. I well, I initially was doing a sauna every day, but I figured out with you that that's not a great idea. It was affecting my sleep, but I'll do a sauna every other day. I work out right now 6 days a week, which can be challenging at times because I work construction, but it's still, I'm pushing myself more than I thought I was capable of. I didn't know my body could handle that much physical activity, but it's completely different and it really relaxes me at night for some reason. Like all the stressors, I can use lifting weights to work through a lot of that.
Yeah. I notice when I don't work out, I start getting more, like, itchy. Not itchy, but, like, bitchy, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I get back into the routine of working out, so I love that working out was a huge part of your journey because you said that you took pictures from day 1 or
Yes.
so, and you can see the, huge transformation.
It's very dramatic. And that's
Yeah,
only in just over 3 months.
it's
And that's,
crazy.
I would say that like that would be an encouraging thing is like, I mean, if you put in the effort and the work towards something else, it's insane to see the results that you get versus
Yeah,
like doing nothing
yeah.
and drinking your time away.
Yeah, there's so much I wanna talk about. So, you're one of the ones that I talk to on a regular basis, and that we've mentioned we almost don't have enough time in the day now that we quit drinking because there's so much to do,
Yes.
like, compared to what people they think that it's boring, right? "Oh, you quit drinking, how boring." I don't have enough time in the day to get everything done and do everything that I wanna do now.
Yeah, I struggled with that for the last month or so. It's like time just goes so fast and I have all these things I want to do.
Yeah,
And it's just yeah, like you said, it's just hard to find all the time to do them all.
yeah. And then the picture, I have been telling people to take a picture of their progress since I started my own fitness journey back in 2017. Because you taking the picture proved that you were transforming, even though in the beginning we're all caught on that scale, but you know, you haven't
Yeah.
lost a ton of weight, but your body has completely transformed.
Yeah, and that was the big difference for me because I was stuck on the weight. I'm like, why? Because last time I did that, I did the same thing. I went into exercising, and then I dropped to 210 pounds, and this go around for some reason was not happening. That was the key for me is taking a picture of before and after,
Yeah.
and that's what kept me motivated. And yeah, I highly recommend anybody who's doing that to take a picture
Yeah.
because sometimes the scale does not tell the truth.
No, but that
And
picture will not
if you're
lie.
putting on more muscle, that weighs more than fat. So
Yeah. So, do you feel like the discipline you built physically has helped you rebuild emotionally too?
yes, absolutely. Like even I would say yesterday was a pretty hard day for me. For whatever reason, I was just exhausted. I've been working out of town, and normally looking back, like that'd be my go-to an excuse. It's an excuse to drink. It's like you earned this for some reason, so now go drink. Instead, I have to kind of like figure out what my body's telling me to do sober, and then try to adjust. And it's always an adjustment. It seems like every week is different, but it's exciting too because we get to learn new stuff, new tools,
Mhm.
and I like the idea of trying to stretch myself, continually trying to stretch myself and become a better person.
When you were drinking, did you ever imagine you'd be this dialed into your body and your emotions?
No, I wanted it, but I knew I had to let go of alcohol to get there.
Yeah.
And it's a really good feeling to actually see progress and conquer things.
Yeah. Do you so I know that you mentioned some things about relationships, and I think a lot of us have had damaged relationships because of alcohol. I mean, I have. But do you feel that if some of these past relationships there was no alcohol involved, maybe they would have worked out?
Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate to that. It's like like even my past relationship, we started out drinking. Well, like our
Mhm.
first date was revolved around alcohol, and then for off and on for 3 years, alcohol was a part of our daily life.
Right.
And I know, like that, verbally, that was communicated that that became an issue down the road. And with some of my other past relationships before that, it was the same thing. It's like alcohol eventually became a deal breaker,
Yeah.
and they definitely would have been different.
But there was the time that you were sober and again, and you were in a relationship. How did that go while you were sober and the other one still was drinking?
Um, I think it got one of the. I think the relationship you're talking about is like I was told to stop drinking. I have a problem. And the other person continued to drink, and then eventually it came as like, well, let's just get some drinks. So it didn't really it wasn't really cohesive because if two people have the same problem, then and one person tries to quit, you're just going to have conflict.
Good point. I feel like a lot of people actually have this question, and I don't know how to answer it. I mean, I can just observe from the outside, but Jonathan quit before I did, so I never had to experience that. And when people ask that question, when two people have the exact same problem with alcohol, well, okay, not the exact, but you know what I mean. Um, there's going to be issues, and somebody's going to probably fall unless everybody gets on board.
Yeah. And I think early on that would be really hard for somebody that's trying to quit drinking. But for me now, like if I'm around friends and they're drinking and they have like two or three beers or drinks or whatever, it does not bother me. It starts bothering me when somebody's completely wasted. Then I
Mm.
have a hard time being around them.
Yeah. Speaking of, I was so excited for you because I knew that you were strong enough, but I couldn't wait to hear all about it. Your sister's wedding going into day 90, and you were a part of the wedding, so you had to be completely involved.
Yes.
Can you walk us through how you got through your first big events completely sober?
Yeah, that was quite the ordeal. Again, like I approached it mentally like this is an opportunity to grow. And like I want to put myself out there in social situations where like this is the new me. I also had my brother and sister-in-law who are in AA, and I got some support there at that time, so that was helpful too. But I don't know, it was interesting. You could definitely tell because and I from where I'm from, like a wedding is party time. I'm from a small town, and that means everybody's going to get blitzed, or a lot of people will. I just went into with an attitude of like, I'm not drinking. I'm just going to enjoy this and see what it's like from the other side of being sober, which was actually quite fun. And I had a lot of confidence and, for some reason, a lot of peace like throughout the whole experience. And just remember one of my thoughts is like I saw people because I'm just so used to having a drink in my hand, and like I'm the one who's three three beers in 2 minutes, and then just continuing that nonstop. And I'm like staring at other people with drinks in their hands, like, oh, there's a shiny toy that I used to play with, and I can't have it anymore.
Well, you can, you just choose not
I
to.
can, I choose not to. It's a weird thing just for so long being that person
Yeah.
and being one of the top participators in the drunk Olympics or whatever.
There was some things that you mentioned to me during that weekend, and one of them was relearning. You mentioned something about relearning how to be awkward or how to be in
Yeah,
awkward
yeah, yeah.
situations.
And that was one of the things I noticed about putting because it's the first time I put myself in a social situation like that sober. And I became very aware of like there's awkward times when you're talking to people or whatever. And like this is normal. And I consciously like, okay, I have to relearn to live in the awkward moments and to accept them. Before, yeah, I just if this was awkward and I felt uncomfortable, I just go right to grab a drink.
Yeah, yeah. But so we knew that caffeine was affecting your sleep, so you cut caffeine out
Yep.
later in the afternoon. But through the wedding, having something in your hand, which was an
Yes.
energy drink, helped you get through it. And that's what I try to tell
Yeah.
everybody, just have something in your hand. It doesn't have to be alcohol, especially for
Yeah.
those of us that aren't used to going somewhere without something in our hand.
Yes. That was very helpful. Whether it was water, yeah, I chose caffeine for some reason, but everybody
But I
was amped up. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I guess my way of being amped up.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that because that I feel more comfortable if I have an energy drink or a
Mm,
coffee in my hand. That way I'm a little, I guess, amped up also, but it just something different
yeah.
besides just boring sparkling water sometimes and people questioning you. That did anybody question you when you were there?
Um, I had a couple of people ask if I wanted to go get some drinks or something, and then I'm like, "No, I don't drink anymore." And if they chose to ask why, then I told them.
I absolutely love that. So many people go into these events asking, "What do I say? How do I navigate that?" Just tell them that you're not drinking,
Yeah,
right? It's pretty simple. If they
which
ask
is pretty
why,
obvious for me, and like these people knew that I drank quite a bit. So,
yeah,
and then most of them, reaction I got was they were proud, so they're proud of me, and I didn't get any pushback or anything.
yeah. So you were able to leave early and you actually got to drive home that night
Yes.
because you weren't drinking.
Yeah, I think it was probably around 8:30, like, the people that were drinking all day, it started coming out, and I'm like, "Okay, this is my time to leave," and I talked about it with a couple family members. I said, "If it gets to a certain point, I'm just gonna go," and they're just like, "Yep, do your thing," which was a huge benefit, and I've never experienced that in a long time,
Yeah.
of just being able to not have that hanging over your head and like, who am I going to drive drunk to the hotel? Can I drive back? Or any of that stuff. I didn't have to worry about cops, which I actually learned later on that there was 3 or 4 cops sitting by the reception
Oh.
waiting for people to drive.
Hmm.
That's a good feeling when you get to avoid all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. And you're not nervous driving.
Yep.
Even if it was just one beer, it's still nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
So there's this pressure sometimes, especially for men, I feel, to bond over beers. Have you noticed that shift in your social circle since quitting?
I have a lot of my relationships have changed naturally, I'd say, because I quit drinking. And it's not like there's any animosity towards each other. It's just I think when you're in that circle, you're just drawn to each other.
Mhm.
And like an example would have been that the night before the wedding, the part of the wedding party was out drinking in the parking lot, and the conversation got awkward very quickly. You could tell that they were really drunk, and I'm like, "Oh, that's my cue. I'm gonna go to bed." It's just moments like that where you're not connecting to people like you used to,
Yeah.
and they're chasing the high and you're maintaining your sobriety, so you have different priorities. And I noticed that with some of my family members also who are still drink, it's like our relationship has shifted.
For better or worse,
um
or both.
I'd say both. I mean, they're not we don't hang out as much because it was always revolved around drinking, but that was who I was then.
Yeah. So your brother's sober. How long has he been sober? Because I mean, I know that we've mentioned that it kind of runs in your family. And
Yeah.
did their journeys influence you?
Yeah, my dad, after my parents got divorced, my dad soon after realized that he found out that he was an alcoholic, however you want to call it. And I was fairly young. My brother also, I watched him go through quite a bit of stuff. He had gone through DTs twice while he was living with me, and probably about 10 roughly 10 years ago, he made the choice to quit, and he went through AA. So I've looked up to him and used him as a support system also through these last 99 days.
Did you ever look at your brother and think I can do this too?
Yeah.
Or was he a lot worse off than I
He
don't
was a
want to
lot worse
compare.
off than I was.
Yeah, I don't think anybody, the comparison game is stupid, but when it came down to it, was he like drinking more and more destructive?
Yeah. Yeah, I was always more calculated and cautious to some extent. I know that sounds ridiculous, but
Yeah.
yeah, he was more carefree and just all out if he was going to go do something. So he had more of the serious effects when
Yeah.
he quit. And then just using him, like, he'd always encourage me. I told him, like, over the years, like, I think I have a drinking problem, and he'd always just encourage me. And when yeah, whenever he'd always just tell me, he's like, if you ever need help, just reach out.
That's nice. And he's older than you.
Yep, he's a year and a half older than me.
And your mom is extraordinarily proud of you, right?
Yep. Yes, she's ecstatic that I finally quit.
Your dad has been sober for a long time. Has he ever recognized or ever assumed that you haven't had a drinking problem?
Um, it's complicated. I think he was trying to be careful not to. like influence our relationship. I did tell him not too long ago, like before I quit, I said I think I have a drinking problem, but then he didn't really get involved.
Yeah, but now you're here sober.
Yep.
And everybody has their own way of getting sober, and everybody has their own reasons for getting sober, and not everyone has a dramatic rock bottom. You're, one of those that I mean, your everybody's rock bottoms are different, so maybe your rock bottom is completely different than my rock bottom or somebody's rock bottom that is devastating, but you simply chose to better your life and, do the freaking work, stay accountable,
Yeah.
make the decisions to, you know, move what is grow up, right? I feel like once we let alcohol go, there's a part of us that matures.
Yeah, it has to.
Yeah.
Like I think I said before, it's like the terminal arrested development.
Mhm.
When we're in that state of any substance, like it stunts our growth spiritually, mentally, and physically, and you can't move past that until you start facing these things. And that mask is for me, it was alcohol, and it's been a lot of ups and downs, like good, but mostly good.
You and I have read the same book and, communicated a lot on this book, but I mean, we don't have to get into the super nitty-gritty, but so It's Not You by Dr. Ramani, which is a super powerful book on healing from, certain people and emotional stuff in our life. What part of the book hit you the hardest? Because I know that I've been talking about this book quite a bit, but I think it's because it's been nice to have somebody read it with me and can help relate.
For me, it has to do with realizing there's been past relationships in my life where she talks about the abuse from a narcissist and like accepting. It's very I'm looking for a word, verifying. A lot of people can be narcissistic and how they and your relationships.
Yeah.
Some even in my past dating, I've had that.
I think all of us have a lot of tendencies to us to, have the same characteristics of a narcissist, but ultimately it comes down to what are we healing from? And I think that's where that book you know, verifies what we're healing from.
And also realizing that you can't change the narcissist. They're just going to be that person. And that's hard
Yeah.
to accept for me. Like I'm a very giving or helper type of person and thinking that it'll turn out okay, it'll turn out right. And she talks about that in the book. It's like realizing that this is not going to turn into a fairy tale ending. Some people are like that,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. I feel like sobriety forces us to feel things we used to numb, and that book definitely helped realize that even more. So what's an emotion that I know that we've talked a lot about resentment, but in the book, she says you can wait a lifetime and you still may never get an I'm sorry or them taking accountability for their actions towards us. How does that make you feel? I mean, because we have to release that, right?
Yes. For me, it's been realizing that they're never going to change. And
Mhm,
that's, again, that's a really hard thing to accept, especially if they're really close to you.
mhm,
But coming to peace with that reality that you're not going to get, I'm sorry, you're not going to get the validation. There's a lot of like, even I've tried in the past and it's come back to like, I've never said that. I never did that.
yeah,
So I've chosen to, in some of these relationships, that you talk about mundane things about the weather, try not to get into anything too specific. Sports, weather, oh, the grass is green, the sky is blue.
yeah,
If they're a family member, I mean, you have to associate with, like, especially holidays coming up, some of the stuff that happens.
yeah. Everybody loves the holidays, right? And you're going
Yep.
into you're going into the holidays sober.
Yep,
And
for the first time.
what are your thoughts on that and your feelings?
I'm still approaching it the same way. Like this is a new opportunity to socialize and sober and just look at it from a different perspective instead of through the drunk goggles. Like I get to enjoy my family and time around everybody.
How has sobriety changed your tolerance for chaos or toxic behavior in friends, work, or even family?
It's it's been hard at times. I've noticed like my anger and resentment has kicked up quite a bit, but It's me relearning a lot of the stuff that I pushed off for years and years and years. But I also, thanks to you, like I've kind of been working through some of this stuff and learning how to handle resentments and how to, like, journaling helps a lot, and writing down your resentments. I think in AA they call it taking inventory, because this stuff is going to happen on a daily basis. You can't avoid it.
Right.
It's just learning how to deal with it
Mm.
and like accepting the circumstance for what it is.
Well, because we did a an activity, or you did a homework assignment that I
Yeah.
gave you, I guess, I don't know what it's called, but and even in the book, I mean, I've been doing this, my therapist told me to do this, and then all the books that I'm reading say the same thing, to write the resentment list and then go through it with somebody, and that way when you're speaking it out loud, it kind of helps, validate, is it both of you, or is it them, or is it you, right? And so I think when you read these out loud, what did you realize from actually writing them down and reading them out loud?
I realize that they don't have as much power over me as they used to. And these can be from past relationships. I mean, that was that time. And it doesn't have to be my present. And I don't have to hold on to these things.
Right.
And I can't to become the person I want to be.
Yeah. Who do you want to be?
Working on becoming content
Mm.
and living for each day and pushing for a future for myself.
Yeah. So you did have doubts, what, a few weeks ago? Maybe it was probably longer, but why you're doing this. And I think a lot of people do question along their journey, why am I doing this? Who am I doing this for?
Yeah, and I had that when I quit, it was probably about 2 or 3 years ago now, and I came to a point in like, what's the point? But I think, and I'm kind of grateful for that time, because now I know that these moments are going to come when you're going to question whether it's worth being sober or not. But I
Yeah.
know the other side of it. The other side of it, it never stops. Going back to alcohol, and I can choose to drink any day I want to. Today, I'm choosing not to, and I don't know. I just have this. I don't want to live that way anymore. And I don't know what tomorrow's going to look like, or a year from now is going to look like, but I know it's going to be better than what it was, because I spent almost 16 years drinking daily. I mean, it progressed over the years and got worse, but there was
Yeah.
no future there. There was
Mm.
no life, and I just found myself isolated, drinking by myself and alone. And I know there's a lot more out there.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people struggle with, maybe the loneliness part of sobriety. Have you ever struggled with that part?
Yes, regularly, like my weekends, and that can be difficult. And I'm working on that. I know that takes a lot of effort, especially if you're introverted or you don't have that structure. I kind of did away with that structure. I had a lot of friends, and then slowly, like, people have their lives, they move forward, their families and everything, and it can be hard being alone. And I think a lot of that can it cause those moments of questioning yourself, questioning your sobriety. That's why I think it's very important to have a support network.
Yeah.
Because why do it by yourself?
You have to have
Yeah,
a community. I mean, even
yeah,
if that's just one person, I mean, you need somebody to be able to check in with and show up. Yeah, I think that's very important. I mean,
yeah,
I tell people all the time, there's a few of you that I see on a regular basis, and those ones, you guys are so strong in your sobriety. It's because you've made it a point to create a community, to engage with me and the others, and you're not doing 75 hard, but in a way you've given yourself your own task list, right? You're
yes,
doing all the things. You're staying accountable, you have community, you're working out, you're eating healthier, you're reading, listening. Well, same thing, I think. But
yeah,
I mean, you're doing the work, and a lot of people don't want to do that. They think that it's just, I'm going to take this, something magical is just going to happen, right? But it's work every single day. You have to push through the emotions. You're going to have people pushing your buttons or saying triggering things. You're going to have bad days. I mean, you work in, you're a contractor, right? So it's
yeah,
like you deal with so many different personalities and a lot of stressors. I mean, obviously all jobs are stressful, but I mean, that's a laboring job. And so at the end of the day, what do people want to do? They want to come home and just veg out and do nothing and just drink, but you're pushing yourself to be the healthier version of yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally. I mean, that has to give you so much, you have to be so proud of yourself, right?
Yeah, in a way, and it's a really good feeling to know. I think we limit ourselves way too much. Like we're
Mhm.
not capable of doing these things, like improving our, like even working out after working all day. Like we can push ourselves,
Yeah,
and we're capable of doing so much more than we think we are.
yeah. So you did struggle with sleeping in the beginning and you finally figured out you're sleeping, and I know a lot of people question the whole sleeping thing, and I think it's a per person situation when it comes to sleep. Either your sleep gets better right away or you have to figure out what is keeping me awake at night. And for you, you figured that out and now you're sleeping better. Obviously, you have your nights here and there that we don't sleep well, right?
Yeah.
But once your sleeping got better, your your emotions kind of started stabilizing a little bit.
And early on, I know a lot of people will struggle with sleeping because you're alcohol leaving your system. You're just sedating yourself, so your
Mhm.
body's readjusting. And I knew that going in that I was going to struggle with sleep early on, but I of course had to push things. So I was doing the sauna every day, and I didn't know that that could actually affect your sleep. It raises your
Yeah.
cortisol levels, and yeah, it can disrupt your sleep pattern.
Because so I'm laughing because didn't you say some is it Swedish or
Finland.
w Finland? They do it multiple times a day every day,
Yep.
so
So I
we
use the
were
excuse. Yep.
to do it, and then you realized, "Oh, cutting back, actually, I can sleep better," and then we cut off caffeine at early afternoon,
Yep.
and I just think it's amazing how we can disrupt our own sleep
Yes.
and not even realize it.
And that's a learning process. And
And
that
yeah, go ahead.
sleep is very important.
Yeah, I was gonna say because when we don't get sleep, our emotions are so all over the place. I mean, I know they are for me, and I know that I've talked to you, and then for people in my life, I mean, I have children. I can see when they don't get enough sleep. But and alcohol does not help us actually sleep. So all these people that are so emotionally irregulated, they're not getting the sleep that they need. And then when you finally actually get the sleep, you can start definitely healing in so many different ways.
Yeah, that was a big one for me while I was drinking because I you could almost pretty much every night I'd wake up around 2:30, 3 o'clock. So I was never getting quality sleep ever because I was so dehydrated. I know a lot of people will be able to relate to this, but you just have to just guzzle water at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and
Yeah.
that's every morning. So now it's going to take another. A lot of times I wouldn't fall asleep till 4:30, 5 o'clock, and then get another hour or two sleep. That's every day, and now it's completely different.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people ask, and I don't ask this question as often as I should, but people want to know if you had withdrawal symptoms, drinking, more than a 12 pack a day, more than a case on the weekends. What was that first 4 to 7 days like for you?
I did have some withdrawal system symptoms. They weren't drastic. I mean, they were drastic enough. Like I had the itchy skin. I had problems sleeping initially. I'm trying to remember. Irritability,
Mm.
I guess the normal stuff. Nothing like too physically drastic, not like DTs or anything.
Yeah. But did that ever scare you seeing your brother go through them?
Yeah. Yeah, it
And
did.
then but you still kept drinking?
Yeah, and I thought I was managing it at first, like when because it was quite a few years ago. I wasn't drinking quite as much, but I knew I had a problem. I told him I had a problem. I told pretty much anybody that was close to me was like, "Yeah, I got a problem drinking." But it's like I have to make the choice that I was going to stop. Nobody can
Right.
do it for me.
But at least you admitted out loud that you had a problem.
Yeah,
Too many of us do not. Too many of us let tragedy hit us before we realize that we have a problem.
yeah. I think for
And
some people, they don't even know they don't know they have a problem. That's just normal.
yeah. Do you have any near rock bottom stories that, you could have woke up and been like, "Oh crap, I should really quit drinking."
Yeah, I stayed away from hard liquor for a reason because I every time I drank it, I'd black out,
Oh.
and that's always a good feeling of what did I do? What did I say?
Mhm.
Or there was a few times, and this always kind of revolved around hard liquor. I'm good enough to drive, and I did not care. Like, and I'd drive 120 miles an hour down the road. And then the next day, I'm like, what did I do?
Yeah.
And how I'm like so lucky, and by God's grace, nothing happened, no accident or anything like that. But there was a lot of really stupid decision making when I was drunk, and I definitely regretted it the next day. But then to numb those feelings or emotions, just start drinking again.
Yeah, you wake up with anxiety and just
Yep.
start from scratch. Here we go. So, when did you stop drinking hard alcohol and just transition to beer?
I was with a friend. I think it was at a family party, and I was drinking scotch, and that person brought me home, and I don't remember any of it, nothing. And I felt horrible the next day, and I realized I can't touch hard liquor because I will drink it like beer,
Mhm.
and I'm not gonna remember anything. So I just made the decisions like I'm staying away from that stuff. And I'd even be drinking with family. They bring out scotch, whatever. Like, no, I'm not touching it.
You said your drinking got really bad the last couple years. What
3
was it
years.
like 3 years? What was it like, y in your 20s and 30s? I mean, was it destructive then, and was it your first did you care about alcohol more than anything else?
No, I drank like a lot of people did when I was in high school and in college. And then there was a period of time, probably when I was 20, I decided to stop. And I probably started again about when I was 27. And that was not like excessive drinking, but it was just here and there. And then it just grew over time.
Compound.
Yep.
So, you didn't drink in your early 20s, and a
No.
lot of us do.
Well, I had my Christian faith is really important to me.
Mm.
And I was following that way. And I knew that if I, especially even in college, I kind of knew I liked to drink, and I was going down a different path.
Yeah. So, do you think being a Christian has helped you stay stronger in your sobriety?
Yes. Yeah, my faith has definitely helped me.
Yeah. I think a lot of people that I talk to have said the same thing, for those that have strong faith. But it's just I mean, I love that, you in your early 20s had such strong faith that you didn't, drink. And then do you remember the turning point? What led you back to it?
It was a relationship
Oh.
that went south,
Mm.
which I think a lot of people experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I get flashbacks every time people mention
Yep.
relationships and alcohol and oh man, they're not
Yep.
they're not pretty.
No, they can be pretty bad sometimes.
Yeah.
But I know, like, even mentioning faith, I know I've talked to you about the past. Like, sometimes you've talked to people where God has taken away that desire to drink or just healed them from it. But
Yeah.
I also know that there's some of us that need to overcome it. And I believe
Mhm.
that's what I needed to do for myself. And I prayed about it, and I felt like God was encouraging me, like, you are strong enough, you can do this.
Yeah. I mean, you are. And,
Yeah.
I think if we don't I don't know, I can go down a huge this can be a whole other podcast, but I just think, when you look back at who you were 20 years ago and who you are now, what is the biggest achievement do you like about how proud you feel of yourself?
That I'm doing it. That I'm doing it every day. And that's the biggest difference. Like, I made a decision that I'm doing this thing and I'm sticking with it. And it's fun. Like even the aspect of me, I one of my goals is like I'm just gonna transform my body. I'm gonna be in the best shape of my life.
Yeah.
I'm like, why not? Like, I can do these things instead of like choosing to let alcohol run my life. I get to do these things now. I get to go on a hike. I get to go for a run, which there's no way I would have done that when I was drinking.
Yeah. Well, and I feel your brother, he
Yeah.
got put himself into fitness too, didn't he? Or
Yeah,
was
and he did. He kind of. I'm following a little bit the same thing that he did, because when I remember we lived together quite a few years ago, it was probably 13 years ago, and he'd go down in the basement and he'd work out after we worked all day, because I had my business and we worked together, and he spent an hour and a half down in the gym, and I'd sit up in my office and drink. But now I'm kind of following in his footsteps, and I'm choosing to do the healthier thing.
do you ever look at it that he led by example in a way? I mean,
Yeah.
he got sober, he got fit, and now you're following in his
Yeah.
footsteps.
Absolutely.
And because I feel those of us that lead by example, there's a lot of power in that and staying sober ourselves. And you get to lead by example. You're probably leading the ones that are still drinking and you don't even realize it.
I have had some people that are close to me, and like they've definitely slowed down in drinking, and I didn't say anything. I just explained the
Yeah.
situation to them. Like, this is what I was doing, and I've seen a lot of people not completely quit, but just definitely become more cognizant of it.
Yeah. How does that make you feel?
Good. I mean, it was never my intention to like make anybody do anything, but it's like it makes you aware that you have more impact on people than you think you do.
Yeah. I mean, well, you quit drinking, you're getting fit. People are gonna definitely, if they haven't noticed yet, they're definitely gonna be noticing anytime soon, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, it takes a while for our
Yeah.
bodies to transform for, everyone else but ourselves to notice. But I think, I love that it's kind of just a trickle down effect, It starts with one person and the next and then the next and maybe sooner or later the other ones
Yeah.
that are still drinking will cut back or have a change of thought also, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, can't force it on anyone and
No.
nobody could force it on us, but at the end of the day, we could just be proud of ourselves for staying strong and pushing through the emotions and the resentments and the anger, and then everything else will just eventually fall into place.
Yeah.
So what are you hoping the next 100 days look like?
I hope that I become way more emotionally and mentally stronger. I know you're over 2 years now. I can't even imagine what that feels like, but I wanna have that consistency, and physically, I wanna continue to change and just, like, just have fun with it. Just have fun with different things.
Yeah. It is fun. You definitely have to stay consistent, but it is fun challenging ourselves. But then I feel you get to the point where I don't know, I'm kind of in this slump right now where I didn't go to a concert last night because I just wasn't in the mood for crowds. And that's I feel when you start really maturing is when you used to chase these events just to go drink and now you can take them or leave them.
Yep,
Like, do I really wanna go? I don't know. But if I was still drinking, I would have been there, and I would have been wasted, would have spent hundreds of dollars on alcohol, and woke up hungover today. And nope, instead I stayed home with my kids, had a fire, hung out with my mom, and woke up clear-headed.
yep.
So, it's just the things that transform over time, and I I think a lot of people go into this journey kinda hesitant about saying, never. Like, I'm never gonna drink again, but I think we can't ever say we really can't say never because you never know what's gonna happen, right? But I can I can honestly say I do not have any intentions of ever drinking again because I know playing that tape forward and just knowing if I was to ever drink again, where I would go back to, and it just does not look pretty.
It doesn't even seem appealing at the moment to
Mm-mm.
me. But again, I take the same approach. Like I can't not say I'm not gonna drink, but right now I'm good. And again, I have for so long have kind of just burned in my brain, just like the negative feelings, the negative aspects of drinking. And I know if I have that one, it's going to turn into 20, and that's going to turn to 100, then it's going to turn into 2 weeks, and then 2 months, and then 2 years. And I
Yeah,
don't want to go back to that.
no.
There's so
So
much more to live for.
There there is. So, when you first started talking to me, you had a goal of I don't know, you had a certain number in your head that you wanted to get to, and you obviously made it through, and what's keeping you going?
Yeah, just that. And, I mean, I know a lot of people don't like the number game, but I kind of find it encouraging to me because at first I think it was 30 days. Just want to make it 30 days. And then you challenged me on 90 days, which I hit.
Yeah,
And it's that stuff. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back to that feeling. I know the results from it. I know what it offers. I know what it has to offer. To me, at this point, it's just misery. Like you can get that first buzz for, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes, and then it's downhill from there.
exactly. So what would you say to people that are still on the fence of quitting? Do I have a problem? Should I quit? Or they just want to start? Like, what would you say to those people that are struggling with where to start?
I would say like the biggest help for me has been accountability and reaching out. And I was really hesitant initially, and I was actually drinking when I reached out to you. I was watching one of your videos, I think it was with Chris,
Yeah,
and that really stood out to me. And I just made the decision, even though I was drinking at the time, like I'm gonna make an effort, and that changed my life. And I would encourage anyone who is thinking about quitting, just reach out, whether it's to you or to somebody else.
right,
Like having support is the only way to go.
right.
And the biggest difference is you were able to help me navigate all those ups and downs, especially early on, because you're going to go through a lot of emotions, a lot
Mhm.
of changes physically and emotionally, and but it's possible. It's absolutely possible to do it, and life is better on the other side.
It really is. I I am coaching someone right now who also booked when he was drunk. And I love, cuz usually we're, on Amazon shopping when we're drunk, but instead some of you book
Yep.
like coaching calls with me and I don't know, I love it. It makes me, I don't know. I I love being able to help people get through things and maybe I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but at least I can help those
Yeah.
that I am their cup of tea because I know it's not easy and I know the ups and downs are never fun to navigate, but I think yeah, as long as you have someone that you can having a third party is I think extraordinarily helpful and whether that's I don't know, somebody a recovery group somewhere or one of the coaches, but I think having someone besides a friend or a parent or something, I think
Yeah.
somebody needs somebody outside of the circle.
Somebody that has a lot of knowledge and patience.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, you kind of helped me through a lot of stuff that I didn't even realize or didn't think about. And
Yeah.
like just made me feel like, yeah, this is normal. This will pass. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Just got to push through it, right?
Yeah, just push through it.
And you also before we end, you also hit a PR, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. One of my goals, I have a lot of little goals. I wanted to get 300 on the bench press, which I've gotten close to in the past and never got it. And then I think it was what 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I got 300 pounds on the bench,
That's a
which is
big
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a big win.
I mean, I'm still at like 55 pounds, so I mean, 300 I mean, that's a I love the goals. And do you mind sharing some other goals that keep you going?
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot for a six pack. I've never had one before. I'm like, why not? I mean, it's just little things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? You're a guy. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
yeah.
sh
I got the time.
yeah, yeah. Because we have the time because we're not sitting around drinking our lives away anymore.
Yeah.
Actually being useful to ourselves.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I really appreciate you doing this with me. It was a little different because this was my first time interviewing someone that I talked to, but I really appreciate you, being vulnerable enough to, do this and share because I think it helps so many people out there that can just resonate with somebody and one person it could impact and change their life.
Well, I hope so. I hope I can. Some people can relate to my story.
Yeah. I mean, what? Like small town country guy
Yep.
drinks some beer, decided to quit drinking beer and you're changing your life.
Yep.
A lot of us, a small town girl, drank my life away until I decided to quit drinking.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's so many positives on the other side of it. There's not a day that you will ever regret quitting drinking, only regretting when we do drink, right?
Yes.
Nothing positive comes from drinking.
Not to my recollection.
No. No. But again, thank you so much.